And the Mall isn't all that well lit either. And we were sort of... The ability to have somebody who is kind of epitomizes what you think your country stands for.
Could a royal showdown be unfolding? Allegedly, Princess Anne has issued a final warning to Queen Camilla about jewels once belonging to Queen Elizabeth. The whispers hint at hidden treasures and palace secrets. Curious? Stick around and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next twist. Behind the grandeur of royal life, whispers often spread faster than any official announcement. This time, the rumor was almost too dramatic to believe. Some say Princess Anne confronted Queen Camilla directly, demanding the return of priceless heirlooms once worn by Queen Elizabeth herself. For many, the idea seemed unimaginable. How could such treasures ever vanish from their rightful place? Yet the whispers carried weight. They weren't about ordinary jewels. They were about history itself, tied to one of the most beloved monarchs in modern memory. The story suggested a dramatic standoff. Anne, the steadfast protector of tradition, standing her ground against Camilla, the new queen consort accused of holding on to jewels that weren't hers to keep. But what exactly did Anne find that made her act so boldly? And why would these jewels cause so much turmoil within the royal family? To understand the weight of these whispers, we need to step into the silent corridors of Windsor Castle, where every artifact carries centuries of meaning. After Queen Elizabeth's passing, royal archivists conducted a routine review of her private collection. It should have been simple, checking each item, recording it, and ensuring nothing was out of place. But this time, something didn't add up. Certain heirlooms, items tied to key moments in the Queen's reign, couldn't be found. Among them was a diamond brooch said to have been presented to Elizabeth before her coronation, a sapphire necklace she often wore on solemn occasions, and a tiara that symbolized continuity through generations. These weren't mere ornaments. They represented duty, unity, and the heart of the monarchy. The archivists kept quiet, hoping the matter was a mistake. Yet the absence of these treasures left a void, like missing pages in a national story. And when Princess Anne caught wind of the situation, her quiet resolve was stirred. Anne has always been known for her no-nonsense approach and deep sense of duty. Unlike others who thrive on spotlight moments, she values loyalty and action over attention. When rumors about missing heirlooms reached her, she didn't lash out or make dramatic speeches. Instead, she listened carefully, observed quietly, and stored every detail away. Outwardly, she appeared calm. Inwardly, she carried a storm of questions. For Anne, these weren't just jewels. They were a part of her mother's legacy, a legacy that stretched across 70 years of devotion to country and family. Each piece carried memories, stories, and promises meant to outlive the Queen herself. Anne's patience became her strength. She would not jump to conclusions or let emotion cloud her judgment. She would wait until she had more than rumors. But deep down, she knew something was not right. The turning point came when a former aide stepped forward. Someone who had once worked closely with Camilla allegedly revealed a shocking detail. According to this account, a private vault existed, not in Windsor or Buckingham, but at Ray Mill House, Camilla's retreat in the countryside. Unlike the royal archives, this vault was personal, carefully guarded, and off the official record. The insider hinted that several missing items had been moved there. Among them, the Queen's emerald choker, the sapphire brooch, and a tiara with deep ties to royal tradition. Each piece was described in detail, painting a picture too precise to dismiss. For Anne, this information was both a revelation and a challenge. If true, it meant someone had intentionally taken pieces that symbolized the monarchy's very identity. The question was, why? Rather than confront the matter with anger, Anne chose precision. She discreetly called upon trusted members of the Royal Protection Command. Their task was simple in theory but monumental in risk: quietly verify whether the vault existed and if the rumors held truth. The team worked under complete secrecy, reviewing logs, photographs, and inventories. What they found was startling. Items listed in the royal records were indeed missing, and in their place, duplicates or vague entries filled the gap. The vault at Ray Mill House was real, and it contained heirlooms that should have been in official safekeeping. Even more suspicious, many items were relabeled as family property, rather than being tied to the official royal collection. It wasn't just an oversight, it appeared deliberate. Anne's doubts transformed into certainty. The time for patience was over. She had gathered what she needed, and she was ready to act. The confrontation took place at Clarence House, and by all accounts, it was one of the most intense private moments in recent royal memory. Anne arrived with 2 senior aides, carrying folders filled with documents and photographs. She spoke directly, without embellishment, accusing Camilla of keeping items that belong to the crown and its people. Camilla, unprepared for such a direct challenge, dismissed the claims as exaggerated. She argued that the items had been misfiled during the chaos following the Queen's passing. But her composure faltered when Anne presented the evidence: high-resolution photos of the jewels, signed testimonies from staff, and inventory comparisons that left no doubt. Anne's words cut sharply. Respect isn't inherited, it's earned. She reminded Camilla that Elizabeth had been clear about her intentions for these heirlooms, and altering that plan was not just careless, it was disrespectful. Yet even as the proof was laid out, Camilla wasn't ready to give in. Shaken but determined, Camilla turned to her strongest ally, King Charles. She painted the confrontation not as a search for truth, but as an ambush. In her version, Anne was portrayed as overly aggressive, stubborn, and threatening to the stability of the monarchy. Camilla stressed that such behavior could ignite unwanted attention and destabilize the very institution they were meant to protect. She even went further, suggesting in a draft decree that Anne's ceremonial roles be reduced. The proposal included her removal from future Order of the Garter ceremonies, one of the monarchy's most honored traditions. This was more than a counterattack. It was a direct attempt to weaken Anne's influence, using royal protocol as a weapon. For Charles, the choice was agonizing: loyalty to his sister or loyalty to his wife. The palace had never felt more divided. As the tension mounted, Anne uncovered something extraordinary. Within the royal archives lay a sealed envelope, untouched since Elizabeth's passing. Inside was a handwritten letter, marked with the Queen's personal cipher. The words carried weight far greater than any decree. Elizabeth described the heirlooms not as possessions, but as symbols of heritage. She carefully listed where she wanted each piece to go, with special mention of a sapphire necklace meant for Princess Charlotte. More importantly, she entrusted Anne as the guardian of this legacy, writing that Anne understood the true cost of history better than anyone. There was even a cautionary note directed toward Camilla. Respectful but firm, the Queen warned against treating these treasures as symbols of power rather than memory. With her mother's words in hand, Anne was no longer defending rumors. She was carrying Elizabeth's own wishes. Soon after, the whispers left palace walls and reached the world. Tabloids and society columns burst with headlines about missing jewels, secret vaults, and a tense confrontation between Anne and Camilla. The timing was striking, just days after Anne's private meeting. Too detailed to be speculation, the reports captured the world's attention. Public reaction was swift. Many saw Anne as the quiet protector of her mother's legacy, while Camilla faced growing suspicion. The palace tried to calm the storm with a carefully worded statement denying the rumors, but the vague language only fueled more doubt. Meanwhile, Anne stayed silent. She gave no interviews, offered no public comments, and let her actions speak for her. Her silence became her strength, reinforcing the idea that she was guarding something bigger than herself. Yet the story was far from over. Another voice would soon step into the storm. From across the ocean, Prince Harry watched the reports unfold. Though distant from royal life, this story struck close to his heart. Harry reached out directly to Anne, sharing private letters and photos once kept by Princess Diana. In them, Diana had noted which pieces of jewelry carried historical importance, marking them not for personal possession, but for future generations. One letter even mentioned Camilla, not as an accusation but as a warning, urging caution that certain treasures should never be claimed as symbols of personal status. Among Harry's collection was a photo of a pearl bracelet that had also gone missing from records. It matched accounts of what was found in Camilla's alleged vault. For Anne, Harry's contribution wasn't just proof. It was a reminder that both Elizabeth and Diana had entrusted the next generation with a legacy that went beyond titles or crowns. The decisive moment came at Balmoral Castle, a place tied deeply to the monarchy's sense of family. Behind closed doors, Anne and Camilla faced each other one last time, with the Duke of Kent present as a neutral witness. Anne laid out everything: the Queen's letter, the vault inventory, the testimonies, and Diana's notes shared by Harry. The evidence was overwhelming. Camilla tried once more to defend herself, saying she had only safeguarded the treasures. But Anne's response was simple and devastating. Legacy isn't something you wear, you protect it. The words left no room for argument. Camilla reportedly agreed to return the heirlooms on the condition that the matter remain private. The confrontation ended, but the echoes of that moment would not be forgotten. In the weeks that followed, the heirlooms quietly returned to their rightful place within the royal collection. Official records were restored, and on the surface, the matter seemed resolved. But beneath the surface, the damage was done. Camilla's confidence and authority had been shaken. Though she stood beside the king, her influence was no longer unquestioned. Anne, meanwhile, emerged stronger. Without seeking the spotlight, she became the quiet guardian of the monarchy's integrity. Her loyalty and steadiness made her a figure of respect, not just within the family, but in the public eye. The jewels were back where they belonged, but trust, once fractured, was not so easily repaired. The monarchy had endured another test, and though the crown remained intact, the cracks within the family were more visible than ever. In the end, the story was never just about jewels. It was about what they represented: history, loyalty, and the promise of continuity. Princess Anne reminded the world that true legacy isn't about glitter or titles. It's about protecting what matters most, even in silence. But what do you think? Could these whispers hold truth, or are they just another tale born from palace intrigue? If you were in Anne's position, would you have done the same? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your perspective. And if you're curious about more hidden royal stories, make sure to subscribe and check out our next video. Trust us, you won't want to miss what comes next.